World building is so much fun, but with great power comes great responsibility to not screw it up with overpowered stuff. And we've all been there. You create an awesome high magic artifact or high-tech device, and you're so excited to share it with your players or add it to your novel. But there's just one tiny problem. It totally breaks your story, or maybe even your whole world. Suddenly your heroes can use the travel-sized miracle device to solve every single problem. Bye-bye story. But I'm a professional world-building consultant and I have a solution for you. Let me introduce you to the Triangle of Power. The Triangle of Power, as far as I know, is my own invention. Basically, it consists of 3 levers you can adjust: abilities, cost, and limitations. The most straightforward lever in many ways is abilities. What does it do? Maybe it makes you invisible, or gives you the strength of 10 elephants, or allows you to travel faster than light. Often, especially when an item is story critical, like a MacGuffin, the ability is the first thing you think of. If you want some inspiration for amazing items and abilities, by the way, check out bonus action over on World Anvil. I've linked his world in the description. And while you're there, why not create a free account and start world building your own item, technology, spell, or power along with this video. Just use one of the specialized world building templates to get started, and there's a ton of prompts to help you develop your world and its powers in more detail. Once you've got your abilities sorted, the next side of the triangle is cost. In hard magic and RPG systems, the cost tends to be really obvious, like mana in Magic the Gathering, or spell slots in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. But it could be easily something as mundane as fuel. Your power's cost can be complex or straightforward. It might not even be immediately obvious. Sometimes this is even more sinister. Consider Tolkien's The One Ring that slowly erodes your soul. Creepy. After cost, we get to the most overlooked side of the Triangle of Power, the limitations. Limitations are the other stuff. In Dungeons & Dragons, these are common. Something only works in touch range, or within 30 feet. In science fiction, limitations are important too. A dust storm or radiation can block your radars or clog your engines. A piece of tech might only work in Earth-like gravity. You'll notice that limitations are different from cost. Cost is like an input: souls, mana, blood, spell slots. Limitations are more like conditions that must either be met, like special circumstances, or that must be avoided, like interference. The planets aligning is a special circumstance used often in the Dark Crystal. So much so that when I wrote the Dark Crystal RPG, I added it to the world meta of Thra. Here are a few examples of good limitations: nerf zones like dead magic zones or radioactive areas, specific environmental conditions, or even special people who can activate the power are all common limitations used in fiction. So ability, cost, and limitations are the fundamental building blocks of your powers, your magic items, spells, superpowers, and technology. But how do you balance your triangle? The easiest way to balance your triangle of power is for all sides to be the same length or weight. If the item with world-ending power only demands a drop of blood as a cost, and it has no meaningful limitations, then it's going to be a pretty broken world. Anyone who gets their mitts on this device is going to derail your story pretty quickly. Apocalypses everywhere. But if your ability is to summon Cthulhu, a pretty world-ending power, then a good cost should also be very hefty. Maybe the immortal soul of an angel. It needs to be something difficult to get hold of and significant. And the limitation might also be something just as rare, like when the planets align. On the other hand, if your ability is something small, then the costs and limitations can be small too. For example, 1 drop of holy water costs a single drop of blood as a cost, and you can only do it once an hour. It's a small power with small costs and small limitations. So that's the easiest way to balance your triangle, but there are other ways to balance your powers too. The Triangle of Power can be used for a bunch of other stuff too, including balancing or even inventing your own magic system. If you would like me to do another video going more into detail on the advanced uses, please let me know in the comments. So if you've been creating along, you should have an ability, a cost, and a limitation. But once you've balanced your item, how can the Triangle of Power help your storytelling? At any point, You can introduce your costs and limitations as obstacles, as reasons why the power won't work to solve the problem. Star Trek does this well and often. Whenever the solution will just warp power away is going to nerf the story, they introduce costs like fuel, or limitations like an ion storm to take away warp power capabilities. This is important for making your characters try different things and not always solving problems in the same way, even when they've already got their hands on the all-powerful artifact. Of course, you do have to be careful. Using the same limitation too often can make it feel cliché, like the old cell phone with no signal. You can also use costs and limitations for motivation. Costs are a great incentive for character action. How many times was Voyager mining or bargaining for trilithium when an adventure started? Or how about villains harvesting souls to power their doomsday device? Costs can drive character and story. So, balance your triangle and you're golden, right? Well, there's one more thing that you need. You need to theme your triangle. It's important that your triangle of power fits thematically within the world that you've built. If your magic's cost is the blood of 100 virgins, but your power is bringing back the adorable marshmallow fairies, you need to take a long, hard look at your world building. This item is technically balanced, but it's still broken. It betrays the spirit of whatever you're trying to tell the audience. Unless your marshmallow fairies are really freaking scary. In which case, keep them the hell away from me. You have to make sure the tone of your ability, cost, and limitations match across your triangle. That'll make a power that's not just balanced, but also gives the right flavor to your world. And it'll make it memorable too. What about other examples of the triangle of power that are super broken? Or really well balanced? Share your favourites in the comments and throw this video a like, then grab your mighty hammer of +20 inspiration and go world build.